So thanks for coming. This is another rendition of academic integrity reporting using Starfish from the Associate Deans. I am the Associate Dean of Graduate Studies. My name is Rebecca Mushtare, and we have a couple other Associate Deans with us, Kristin Sotak and Kelly Rowe, and they can answer questions and things as well. So the first thing that we want to remind folks is that our academic integrity policy did change, and it will be in effect starting in the fall. So these are some reminders about that, as well as just the reporting process generally. So it's important for all of us to remember that reporting is important because integrity is important. So if you don't report integrity issues, you're essentially sending a message to the campus community that integrity doesn't matter. And we're trying to roll out the Starfish reporting to make life much easier and to make reporting a little more simple, so that it would encourage reporting so we can track behaviors and things like that across classes. So in Starfish, the reporting process is still going to be similar to what it has historically been. If you think something that unethical has occurred, stop, gather some evidence, and then report as necessary. So we're going to go over the process in 5 steps in Starfish. So first, you want to make sure that if you think a violation has occurred, and remember, there's a lot of different definitions of academic integrity inside of the policy for various kinds, like plagiarism, et cetera, if you want to refresh on those definitions. But if you suspect there's been a violation of the policy, the first thing that you want to do is schedule some time to privately consult with the student or students involved, ideally individually, and synchronously. So ideally in person, but if that's not possible, through Zoom or some other platform where you can have kind of a synchronous opportunity to have a conversation and not just like an email exchange. You want to present the evidence and allow the student to provide their perspective. You might kind of have a penalty that you're thinking about, but really it shouldn't be predetermined until you've had this conversation with the student to get more information. Sometimes you might be surprised at what you learn from those conversations. The next thing that you want to do is, after that conversation with the student, you want to inform your department chair or director. So even if you've had violations before and you're familiar with the process, chairs will definitely appreciate knowing about it in case there's an appeal later. And that just kind of makes sure that a couple people know what's going on. And they might ask a few questions too that might help you see the situation more clearly, or even consider some consequences. The third step is to identify possible academic consequences. And so this is where looking at the policy in the academic integrity policy in the catalog, in the current catalog, is really helpful because it does provide some good guidance for consistent penalties across courses. And so if we have a violation that's fairly minor, right, or it's the first time a student has had a violation of the policy in your class, then you might consider no penalty. But then depending on the behavior and the significance of it, it could be something much more significant, like failing an assignment or failing the course. Consulting with your associate dean can be really helpful here in walking through your options and what might make the most sense. As a faculty member, you're responsible for kind of the academic integrity monitoring in your class. And so you may not have the perspective of violations across other classes and things like that. And that's where your associate deans do monitor. And that's why it's so important to report. So that leads us to the next step, which is submitting the violation report in Starfish. And we'll show you a screenshot of that in a little bit for clarity. But the idea here is you just want to kind of raise a flag for the student. The student does not see that flag, but then the associate deans all get that information. So if it's happened across classes and across schools or colleges, we have kind of a record of that. And then we can act accordingly as necessary when invoking kind of the institutional policy. You'll just be responsible for your own specific class. So in Starfish, you would look up the student on that student information kind of tab. And then you're going to click on the little flag icon in the top left-hand corner. And then from the drop-down menu, the top one, because I think they're in alphabetical order, is academic integrity violation. So you would choose that. And then a little box appears. You can pick what class it's in, if it was in a class. And then you can write your specific comments about what kind of violation it was, the conversation you had with the student. You can summarize that here. What's nice about this system is that we're not going to require any documentation be uploaded, although you certainly want to, keep that documentation for yourself in case there is an appeal. So in that comment box, here are some things to think about. One is you don't have to worry about looking up the ID or the course section, all that kind of stuff, because by finding your student in your class and then clicking the flag button, that already is pre-populated. So that in and of itself can save some time. And then you can keep things pretty simple. Provide a 1 to 2 sentence kind of overview of what happened, what the assignment was, a quiz, exam, paper, project, etc. Whether or not the student has acknowledged responsibility for that behavior or action, whatever penalty you decide to assess, and whether or not you've talked with your associate dean about it. Again, there's no attachments that are needed by just reporting. You're just kind of just saying, hey, this thing happened. And that way we know, and we can kind of track it to see if something else happens with the same student, during the same semester or in a future or past semester. But do make sure that you have some documentation of whatever kind of investigation that you did around the issue, so that if there is an appeal, you have that documentation at the ready. And then the last step is to make sure that you don't forget this step, which is to inform students in writing of your decision. Please note that when you raise that Starfish flag, the only people that can see that flag are you as the person who raised it and the associate deans. Right? It does not go to the student. So you do need to write a separate note to the students, and it's really important to make sure that you notify the student of your decision, including any penalties that are being assessed in writing. The other thing to note is that after you've raised a Starfish flag, let's say new information evolves, or you've had another consultation with the associate deans or what have you, you can add additional comments about the incident on the tracking tab in the student's record. So one thing to keep in mind is that you can flag it right when it happens and right after you've had that conversation, but not necessarily know what the penalty is at that moment, and add it after if you need or want to, because maybe you need consultation with the chair or with an associate dean. And in case you're not aware, here are the associate deans. And frankly, if you reach out to any associate dean, they will help you and figure out what needs to happen. So for the School of Business, you have Kristin Sotak, who's on the call. School of Education is Carol WIllard. SCMA is Kelly Rowe, who's also on the call. CLAS is Paul. For grad studies or any graduate level course, it's me. And then you also have access to Greg Ketchum in extended learning. So that's really all we have. Are there any questions? I told you it wouldn't take very long. So the key message here is something happens, raise a flag in Starfish. Don't worry about if it's right or wrong how you're raising it. Just make sure you report it. And then if the associate deans need more information, we'll follow up with you. Did I miss anything, Kristin or Kelly?
I think that was good. Thanks, Rebecca.
looks like you've scored an extra 9 minutes in your day.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.